is some Wild West stuff going on in Yuma County. There's about to be a new sheriff in town, and the current sheriff on his way out is not going quietly. Sheriff Chad Day says his deputies have been bolting before the new guy arrives. So many of them left or will leave that it's no longer safe to operate the county jail. Sheriff Day's refusing to hire new deputies, says it's tradition during a transition. So he's going to scale back the Yuma County Jail, effective immediately. Says it's a, quote, consequence of the type of campaign season we experienced here.
Unfortunately, I am prepared that there are members of my community that aren't going to react positively to this decision, and they'll accuse me, and already have, unfortunately, of doing this to try to set the new sheriff up for failure, or somehow that there's some sort of nefarious intent here.
So about that new sheriff, the incoming Yuma County Sheriff Todd Combs told us he is not looking to inherit an understaffed and scaled back operation. He wants the current sheriff to keep hiring deputies and keep running the jail, even if that means he doesn't get a say in the new hires. For now, though, Yuma County is going to be sending inmates to Washington County. That's about an hour's drive away for visiting families. The state's enormous Hep C settlement with prisoners is now official. This is the one that we told you about last month. $41 million to treat prisoners who have Hep C. It's a deadly, treatable disease. The Colorado State Claims Board approved that settlement this morning. The ACLU had sued to make it happen. Green Mountain High School is in such shoddy shape, the school canceled volleyball and gymnastics meets for 2 weeks. They did that at the last minute. Now, some school districts would not want reporters poking around showing you the decrepit state of affairs. But you see, Jeffco Schools is asking voters for money for school repairs. So they were more than happy to show our Nelson Garcia around.
Walking around Green Mountain High School.
Hiring, getting teachers settled. Hi, guys.
Principal Colleen Owens has enough to deal with. Walking around this aging campus, she finds problem after problem.
The library is where it started.
Heavy rains leak through the roof into classrooms and walls. And now, this.
This is actually siphoning out water from underneath this floor and going into this bucket right here.
Water, destroying the gym from below, possibly from drainage outside into the foundation.
It just kills me that this is what we're left with right now, and I don't know what we're going to do.
The area is still safe, just not really usable.
What's happened is we've had to cancel all of our volleyball games, all of our gymnastics meets.
And there's very little money to fix this, according to Director of Planning and Property, Bruce Huxley.
Well, we've been planning for many, many years.
He says the district only has $20 million a year to spend on maintenance of 156 buildings across Jeffco.
We just try to keep ahead of things.
We have painted every wall. We have aesthetically done everything within our power to do. But the issues that we have are so great and deep.
So the district is asking voters for a $567 million bond issue to fix all the schools, including $13 million for Green Mountain alone. Along with a $33 million increase for operating funds, that means a tax increase of about $221 for the year on a $470,000 home, in a county where only about half of these questions are approved by voters.
You know, the last major influx of funding was the 2004 bond, so we've been behind about 16 years now.
Owens just wants to walk around a school she can be proud of.
When you get into education, you want to do best for the kids. And you get in to be a principal, and you're worried about teachers and education. And I spend so much of my time, and it's stretching me thin.
The building, too. For Next, I'm Nelson Garcia.
One of our first questions when we heard about the situation is whether insurance covers any of the damage. District says insurance will pick up some, but the problems at Green Mountain, they say, are due to the age and the conditions of the building, so it's not really an insurance issue. Our next question comes from a viewer named Kevin. I'm proud to live here. Wanted to get a personalized plate to show everyone. I was disgusted to see that when I added my request for America to be put on a Colorado Ski USA plate, the America was flagged as offensive to the system. Kevin's screen grab clearly shows the state's system denied America, saying this plate personalization has been flagged as offensive in the system. Department told us it was a glitch. Department of Revenue says that America plate should have just shown up as not available. That personalized plate is one of a bunch of high demand plates that get set aside to be auctioned off for charity. That one's being auctioned off by the Colorado Disability Funding Committee. There really is this whole long list of personalized plates deemed by the state of Colorado to be too offensive to see the light of day. I tell you, this list is a 13-year-old boy's dream.
Hundreds of letter and number combinations illegal under Colorado Revised Statute 42.3-2115 for being offensive to good taste and decency. You have to read it in that voice. But the banned plate list also has some pretty innocuous stuff, too. I mean, you can't get stud muffin? That's harmless. What's wrong with Tabasco? Is that dirty? Should I stop putting it on my eggs? Surely some hog rancher should be able to get a pig plate. The Dabbit family's out of luck, though. Fork it, then. Is the state really worried about some old fart offending our sensibilities? Apparently. Then there's hemp, legal to grow, not legal on your plate. Got beer? Not on the plate, you don't. It's not like people want the F word. Actually, they do, and that's banned as well. That's what you people get for being smutty.
Stop it, Steve. If you or a 13-year-old boy you know would be amused by the list of banned license plates, and I will warn you, there's some really filthy stuff on there, so just be warned, all right? But if you want to see the list, I know you do, we have the many, many pages of it in this article on 9news.com. Prepare for late-night testing on the G-Line to Wheat Ridge, or as Stevie in the TV calls it, the train to the grain. Get your earplugs ready. Arvada and Wheat Ridge RTD announced today that testing will expand as of tonight from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. That is tonight and tomorrow. They've been doing 7 to 7 the last couple of weeks. The extra hours will allow RTD to test a software update. If it's any consolation, there's only going to be one train running during that extended time period. Guessing that announcement landed with a thud today in one small office at RTD, the place where 3 employees respond to all of RTD's angry customers on social media. People who watch this program tell us they cannot believe the amount of negative feedback that we get. I will tell you it pales in comparison to what gets thrown at RTD. Our Steve Stager spent the morning with the RTD team handling what they told Steve is about 99% negative feedback.
Think of it as coming to work at 5 o'clock in the morning. That's when I come. And this is the first thing you see. How will your day go?
Not well. Not when your inbox is full of stuff like this.
Please fix the Orchard Station sign. Homie don't even know when the train is coming when he's off work. We ride in this now, latest F.
So, no D-train. What the you people are intensely incompetent. Get your together.
This is how the day tends to start for Corey, C, and Virginia, RTD's social media team. People can be rude, even when they know something bad happened.
Even people that knew it was a fatality are still, I want you to pay for my Lyft, my Uber, you ruined my morning.
They understand the anger.
I grew up with a single mom, transit dependent until I was 16. So I do understand what it feels like to be lugging your groceries on the bus.
What they don't understand is the way people vent that anger. Like C.
Media. I didn't have a Facebook account. I didn't know anything.
The grandmother who was blissfully ignorant about social media before she joined the team.
I still need some help from them. Urban Dictionary, they taught me how to use that.
And the training comes in handy when she reads some of this stuff.
You all on some ho The C line is the OG line. I don't know what that means. That's Urban Dictionary. And you all up. We've been writing this for years, and it feels like you forgot about us. And I don't want my children and my grandchildren to hear me say.
Oh, we get death threats. I don't think people realize the impact that has.
I was trying to find the one where it says, I'm going to waterboard everybody.
So you can imagine, on the rare occasion someone says something nice, it's a big day.
We share that amongst each other.
When you get those 1 to 5 people who send a really nice comment, sometimes it makes me want to cry.
Does it sound like your cup of tea? There's a desk open.
How good are you at taking abuse? Can you send out a tweet without inciting a riot?
Check, check. So the social media team says some of the most positive feedback they get comes from people visiting Denver from out of state. And to be clear, they are not complaining about any of this negative stuff. They understand that it comes with the territory, but we figured it would be nice for you to see the faces of the people you're about to send a nastygram to. And you heard them talk about the positive messages they get. They share them. They'll screenshot them and share them around the office because they get so much negative stuff. And so I think we ought to start a campaign that when like RTD does something good, tweet to them.
Yeah,
give them something to smile about.
Send them a note. You're sending that filth to a grandmother. Do you realize that? That's who you're sending that to. Poor C has to use Urban Dictionary. Thank you, Steve.
Like your aunt's big hair, we're stuck in the 90s and loving it. Mid-September feels like mid-July. It's time for an honest conversation about how tough it is to find childcare in Colorado.
You can do all the research, you can do all the planning, do all the right things, and still end up down the road scrambling for childcare.
And a Raiders truck getting towed. I present this without comment. I just thought it would brighten your day. That's next.
It was scorching hot today, so let's enjoy some nice comfy shade. Like the shade that the Gazette sports writer Paul Klee was throwing today when he spotted this Oakland Raiders truck getting towed. Klee shared this gem with the world with the caption, "Everything has consequences." Interesting, though, to see that John Gruden's already in town scouting our Broncos.
Hello, September. Typically we have blue skies, not much on the radar, but temperatures in the lower 80s. This is the third day with 93 degrees. Just missed a record today by 1. Showers to the south, showers to the east, and that dangerous Hurricane Florence looming on the horizon. Temperatures for Colorado will continue above average with this dominant ridge of high pressure. Not a lot of moisture coming in from Texas or from the Pacific Northwest, but eventually the ridge breaks down. We get a cooling trend not till early next week. Florence downgraded to a Category 3 storm due to make landfall sometime early Friday morning, somewhere along the Carolina coastline. It'll kind of meander along the coast for a couple of days and then move inland, where it will stall. The potential for heavy flooding rainfall and a storm surge of 9 to 13 feet, something we'll be forecasting and monitoring between Myrtle Beach, Charleston, and Raleigh, as well as Wilmington. And then the system moves inland and just sits, and heavy rain there. We can't buy a raindrop here in Colorado. Fair skies in 58 tonight. Another hot high in the low 90s tomorrow. We've had 2 days so far this week with record highs. Could see that trend continue into the weekend. And the Broncos take the field on Sunday afternoon with a kickoff temperature about 90 degrees. And things are looking pretty good for our Rockies tonight as well. First pitch forecast temperature 84. Looks like a winning outlook to me, Kyle.
Hope that Coach Gruden has his truck back by then. Thank you, Kathy. Set aside the cost of child care. State says parents pay on average $60 a day. Even if you can find someone who's willing to take your money, care for your child, are they reliable? It is a constant frustration that we hear from parents who watch Next. People with stories like that of Courtney Broncow.
My husband and I both work full-time, and it is absolutely crucial to have childcare, especially quality childcare. You're dropping your oftentimes 2 or 3 month old child off at these places, so you want to feel like you can trust who's caring for them. I'm Courtney Bronco, and I have a 3-year-old son, and I am pregnant with my second child due in February. I have some frustrations around access to childcare in the Denver area that I've experienced, and I know it's an issue that a lot of families have to deal with. So I started looking when I was about 5 months pregnant, touring a lot of the facilities when I was about 6 months pregnant, and if I liked a place and my husband liked a place that we thought would be a good fit, we went ahead and put a deposit down pretty quickly. It's about $100 every time you go on a wait list. You're all but guaranteed a spot on the wait list, and then when the time comes and you need the child care, there is no space. The first one that was probably the most appalling experience was that we didn't hear back till my son turned 2, and we were on an infant wait list, and we had been on that wait list since I was about 6 months pregnant. I was kind of in shock, but just basically said, thanks, but no thanks. We've found a situation at this point. I've found the ones that have been more transparent and said, ooh, we might not, or this is how it works. If they're honest about things like that, that's usually a good place to go. If they're kind of guaranteeing you a spot in 9 months, I would be a little wary. It will work out. Parents are very resourceful, and you will find something. It is frustrating, but just give yourself enough time and something will work out.
Courtney's still looking for child care facilities, and now she's also exploring other options, nanny share or child care at her son's school. If you are on that same search, and we hear from so many of you that are, we can at least save you a bit of time on good questions to ask. The state sent us a list of suggested questions for child care providers, and they're in this article on 9news.com.
An army of artists marches into an elementary school in Denver. And picking out ski gear in a swimsuit, a perfectly normal Colorado activity. That's next.
It's basically a rule, right, that elementary schools have to be colorful. You got Art and projects and posters all over the walls. Fuchsia and teal headlines shouting encouragement at every passing kid. At Cheltenham Elementary in Denver's West Colfax neighborhood, that color is now seeping to the outside. Artists from around the world are painting murals on the school's exterior.
Ultimately, it's really important to give back when you can. It could be for karma, it could be just knowing that it's the right thing to do.
You too, thank you. I'm from this neighborhood, very excited to be back in West Denver. Hi, it's a good idea to go for a walk. It's a beautiful day. Hi, sweetheart. We focus a lot on making sure kids are competent in math, reading, writing, which are very important. They need to know how to communicate their thoughts. And what I have found in my 20 years is that we spend less time trying to identify and cultivate the gifts they may have as artists, as musicians.
As far back as I can remember, I was always into art, you know, and especially in high school, you know, the teacher recognized that, you know, I wouldn't say I was excelling, but, you know, I just really, she could tell I just wanted to be an artist, you know.
It's almost like they could care less about talking to us as adults. They want to talk to the kids. And we've asked the kids to just come prepared with some questions. This one is the most famous one. So do you know who Shepard Fairey is? Lots of people have come to check this piece out.
You know, I was speaking with the principal and she said she was fascinated by the kids that surprised her, that were gravitating to the murals, and I think that's such a cool thing.
Some kids are like, whatever, yeah, that's cool, my mom thinks it's cool, but I'm surprised by the kids that are drawn and standing, and it feels to me like it's that moment that that first grader isn't going to forget.
Good old symmetry. If our art gets them talking and thinking a different way about the world or their neighborhood, that's a victory for us, you know.
This is all through a project called the RAW Project, Reimagining Arts Worldwide. 25 artists working on the walls at Cheltenham Elementary. That project should be finished up later this month. Just swing by and take a look. The most Colorado thing we saw today. A perfectly normal scene in our state this time of year. Just an 11-year-old named Addie who spent the day at the pool and then went by the ski shop to get her rentals for the coming season, along with some new ski socks. Eddie's mom, Carrie, shared this photo on the Next Facebook page. It made us smile. Hey, if you don't tweet, Facebook's a great way to get in touch with us anytime about anything. Your feedback when we return. Finished with your feedback today. Joanne writes, OMG. I just want to acquire a super cool Next coffee cup. Well, we don't have a million of them, Joanne, but I got one for you. You write in with your address, I'll get it to you, all right? Amanda Brownlee writes in to say, I'm in the middle of a 30-day social media detox, but I am making an exception to tell you that Train to the Grain and Steve Steger's story about RTD's social media team are the best things I have seen and heard all day. Steve Holland writes in and says, RTD, thank you for what you do. I have only taken RTD once to a Rockies game. It was a pleasurable experience. And Carol says, I love how the collective staff of Next see life. Carol, it's just how you see life. It's time the TV news reflected that. See you next time.